Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome back to Hardspace Shipbreaker, where I figured before we go out and get ourselves frozen to death in space, we should probably install that new part via the ship doctor and see if we get a new order or something now that we've completed this list.
Nice work, sir.
Okay,
Training.
so a heatsink and some fuses. So we might need to take on a ship that has a more complex electrical system. We haven't seen a powered junction box in quite a while, I feel like. This is a cool way to affect what you're choosing to drive you to pick different ship types. I like that. Also, also, we haven't actually listened to those tapes yet, so let's have a look at those as well. Okay, Mars Port Olympus 3 of 3, owner Martian Tourism Board. So there's a text file and a dot view. Portrait of Howard Howie Martell, founder of Port Olympus. It's something about either the angle or his clothing or both kind of makes me feel like this is a mugshot. With more and more corporations gaining a foothold on Mars, attracting people from Earth to start a new life among the stars, Mars quickly established itself as a separate entity. Especially after breathable atmosphere was achieved in 2150, life on the red planet became more and more comfortable. In particular, birth rates on Mars improved dramatically. Well, sure, I'm sure they were quite low to start with, so. From this point onward, Mars was no longer reliant on resources or workforce from Earth. It's impressive that they managed to get farming working. With the population exploding and many new opportunities and social structures forming, a natural desire for independence came with it, not just among the citizenry, but for the powerful corporations as well. There was a broad movement to create a new Martian government for the sake of avoiding the mistakes of Terran history. And there are, let's be generous here and say, many to avoid. Some wanted more regulation and protection for human workers, others wanted total, quote-unquote, freedom. From morals and decency. In the end, lobbying and practical demand was the key to Port Olympus being granted sovereignty in 2174, becoming the first self-governed off-world settlement in human history. Also, here we have a report for Mommy. Hi, Mommy. Teacher says I should send you my report because she said it was good, so here it is. Earth, my home, is nice. It is where me and Daddy and Ricky and Buster, our dog, live. Buster, classic dog name. Mommy used to live in here too, but now she's in space, helping people live on other planets. Mommy said she was going to come home for my birthday, but something happened and she didn't come home. One day, when it was windy, the sky turned blue for a bit like they said it used to all the time. That was nice. I hope I get to live where the sky is blue all the time. And I hope Mommy comes to live with us too. The end. Kristen, I'm 6. That's pretty heartbreaking. There's a good like sort of verisimilitude here too. I don't know what little kids type like, so maybe this isn't. But this is very reminiscent of like seeing a kid's writing on, that paper they give you in like kindergarten and first grade where the lines are it's lined so you can write in it, but the lines are really really wide apart. This thing where there's a period and then the end of the sentence feels very accurate to that. Hiring Stormwatcher guides now. Our analytics have determined you may be interested in a new occupation. In addition to great pay and benefits, employment in our Stormwatcher tourism program is equal parts exciting and satisfying. Exciting because the hurricanes over the Atlantic Ocean continue to get bigger and less predictable. Satisfying because while you are sharing the power of Mother Nature with our guests, you are collecting data that may someday help us tame her. We are number 17 on Eco-Family Adventura's top ecological vacations, and our storm watching tours continue to sell out months in advance. It's so upsetting. It's so upsetting that they had to monetize the climate watching, because in addition to a generous base salary, it is not uncommon for our best guides to double, sometimes triple their salaries with tips from lovely customers during peak season. Okay. Eat the rich.text. For centuries, the elite have climbed on our backs, stood upon our shoulders, and breathed the fresh air of a good life. But instead of lifting us up with them, they continue to kick us down. Instead of inviting us to the table to fill our bellies also, we are left to fight amongst ourselves like rats for the crumbs that fall to the ground. And it should be noted, while the vast majority of the stuff up on the table simply spoils and is not used by anyone. But not anymore. Without us, they are nothing. Do not forget that. It is time that we get what we deserve. Our numbers are growing, on Earth, but also above. We are rising. In the shadows for now, but soon we will see the light. You will see the light. Tables will be turned for a forge god, etc. The furnace god does not make an appearance in that message, but they damn well should. All right. Let's go take on a new training ship, shall we? And I already don't remember what parts we need for the ship doctor. It's fine. Whatever.
All right, Cutter. Time to extract your first Class 2 reactor. This one's not quite as simple. Just pull it and barge it, right? Pretty straightforward.
Pretty similar ship design.
Office would rather the reactor was in one piece. Pulling this beast without proper prep is a sure way to print yourself a receipt for a new spare. Sure, prep. But you're on the clock, don't forget.
While they're yammering, I'm going to do this.
Like any reactor, it'll melt down as soon as it's disconnected from its housing. And these Class 2s will melt down mighty quick unless you do two things first. First, release the connection to the thrusters. Second, remove the coolant from the ship's Environmental Control Unit, or ECU. Or just cut a hole, pull it, and barge it. Just make sure you clear an extraction route before doing anything, Cutter. Soon as you release the thrusters and mess with the ECU coolant, that reactor will enter a controlled meltdown. Oh, and if you're having trouble finding everything, try using the systems mode of your scanner.
So when he says controlled meltdown, how controlled do you think that really is? All right.
Salvage registered.
Good high value externals pulled right off. Okay, we got a lot of pressurized compartments here, including the area around the reactor and the thrusters. So we need to pull the thrusters and then pull the coolant from the ECU. And once we've done that, in theory, things will be very melty. Okay. Scanner's freaking out a little bit. It's fine.
Airlock pressurizing.
So I'm extremely good at dealing with these pressurized areas. Obviously, this is going to be just fine. So let's see here. So that takes us out. Okay, that whole corridor is depressurized. So we might want to just pull that off the side of the ship entirely then. Is there an atmosphere regulator in here anywhere? There's our great big reactor. Definitely shortening the life of my spare by even being in here. Okay. We do not want to activate the thruster ejection switch until we deal with the problem with the pressurization. But we do want to do that before we damage any of the power connections. So, if we're doing this one piece at a time, let's go back outside. Oh, actually, this whole thing's open. So if I fire the atmosphere deregulator, it should just depressurize everything, right? No, it closes all the doors. Because of course it does. Okay, so let's depressurize this airlock.
Airlock depressurizing.
That'll have us open on both sides. Let's see if there's any cuts that have to be made in here. Are indeed. These are just gonna be wires and stuff. Yeah, who cares? Okay. That's all the cutting to do in here. Nope. It does feel like the pull of whichever thing the piece isn't supposed to go in is particularly strong for each piece.
Salvage secured. Applying credit. Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
All right. We got most of the real stuff out of here.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited. Salvage deposit secured.
All right.
Credits awarded.
And there's no... Okay, if there was a door panel, I pulled it already. It probably needs to be steered a little bit. Okay.
Processing valuable deposit. Credits transferred.
This is basically all processor stuff at this point. Yeah. I should definitely have realized that was going to happen if I did that. Perhaps moved myself out of the way a little bit. Okay, but all this stuff is connected from inside. Yep, all right. Let's not pull any of the electronics just yet.
Airlock depressurizing.
Not really sure what my plan is for the depressurization here. The plan might involve removing the fuel. How do I safely get this tank out of here? Is there a flush valve? Cause like I feel like I don't want to just start cutting. Right, like if we cut those yellow lights tell us that there's still fuel alive in the system, right? Let me just go in here real quick and see what's what. Okay, cockpit's pressurized, but that's fixable. Probably.
Airlock pressurizing.
Of course, the atmosphere regulator is completely fucked. Okay, well. If I breach the... If we cut away, like, the wall, if we cut away the things holding the outer wall on, And by things, I guess I just mean thing singular, right? Like this is literally the only piece. There's going to be a big rush of Atmo out through that side of the thing, and I'm a little worried that we're going to get sucked through the gap as it's forming. You know, as though it were a little straw. Huh. Loose distributor. Sure, we'll make some use of that at some point. I do not think that's something I want to do from in there.
Depressurizing.
The rest of this is depressurized, and we just fire it. Right, it's all good. Okay, let me close this.
Airlock pressurizing.
Well, no, the room we're in is depressurized. Yeah, this sure, more loose circuits. I really want to open that up from the outside, though. I don't want to start cutting while there's still that pressurized room. So let's go back outside. So what, just split the glass, I guess? Doesn't feel like too big of a loss. The other thing we could do yeah, that's gonna cause something to happen. So it'll push itself off the side of the ship, but yeah, like it's a pretty small space, right? There wasn't that much air in it. And at this point,
Applying credit.
okay, it doesn't look like the decompression did all that much damage, really. It does look like it stressed the canopy a tiny bit, but not so much that the glass broke. You know, this does make me feel like it'd be a little... I feel like I'd be confident flying one of these around. This is giving me a lot of respect for the quality of the build. I'm having a hell of a time getting this thing... Alright, just get the fuck over there. This is not ideal.
Salvage deposited. Applying credit to account.
I'm trying to be really careful here not to exert any pressure.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credit transferred.
Bang anything against anything else inside of this the cockpit right now. I think this is the last valuable thing. No, the door panel.
Salvage registered. Transferring credits.
We good? Yeah, and then everything here is going to the processor, so there's not even a reason to break that weld. Did I? Yep, I did screw up, and I tethered a piece of the station to itself. Well, whatever. They should thank me. I've improved the stability of their probably very valuable station.
Valuable object accepted.
Oh, I ripped the console off of this without depressurizing it. Well, we can probably do it from the other side, right? Worried that we haven't heard that. Oh, hey. Haven't heard that antenna hit the salvage. Don't see it anywhere. Those are interesting. lot of cool ship designs. There's a lot of like passive world building going on. There's also a lot of like really active, hey, pay attention to me world building going on, but that's fine, I guess. Yeah, we don't actually even need to cut that secondary point.
Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
Okay. So I got a little distracted. We were trying to figure out this fuel. Aha. The flush switch.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
Okay, cool. Nothing's in those pipes anymore. So we just got this one big fuel tank. Yeah, all right. Looks as safe as it's getting would be my guess. You can tell I still have some hesitance. I didn't even notice how much the that thing was worth. Presumably it's kind of a lot. I don't know, those containers might be empty actually. In fact, they're probably empty, right?
Salvage deposit.
Yeah, not terribly valuable.
Account credited.
For the amount of work they are to pull, that's a pretty good amount of money. It's almost as much as those big thruster plates. Okay. Not sure I think that focused push is actually... It doesn't seem any more forceful than the non-focused push.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Okay. So we've done that. Now I'm looking at this and trying to figure out how I think we're going to get it out safely. So there's this furnace cage around it. Okay, oh, there are nacelles on the top. Yeah, let's remove those as well. I do think that it is probably a good idea to get the giant tank full of a huge amount of fuel out of here before we go mucking about with the thrusters in the reactor and cause ourselves a very serious incident. In terms of immediate consequences, technically, it doesn't really get any worse than the time that we hit ourselves in the face with that storage bin. But I'm sure the financial consequences for screwing up this and blowing up the fuel tank would probably be pretty serious.
Credit transferred.
Part of the reason I'm not talking so much right now is because I'm actually really into this song. That one might be my favorite bit of the soundtrack that we have heard so far. Okay. So now we got all these exterior bits off. We're gonna wanna pull the outer cage away,
Salvage
this
deposit
processor
confirmed.
cage bit, and I think we can do that without getting the Stinger too close to the fuel tank. Definitely living in terror of a rupture. See, I hate that. I hate that. Okay, just the random everything holds up for a second. Makes me think that the game is trying to render an explosion or something, when in fact nothing was happening at all, I guess. See, the fact that a lot of the time it's happening when nothing is really occurring definitely makes me think that it is more the game engine than my PC. But it would be super cool if it just didn't happen anymore at all. That would be neat. Okay. So this outer cage now, yeah, should be fully disconnected. And in theory, big theory here, if we break the connections holding the fuel cap to the furnace rack, and we cut these, then it should be the case that neither the front nor the back of the ship are connected to the processor cage or the fuel tank itself in any way. It's just a matter of doing this without detonating anything. I'm really nervous about this ever since that time we had that fuel tank explode on us. But we did cut a collar around an active fuel line when that happened, so... Alright, ain't nothing in these pipes, in theory, so... Should be able... Okay. Right now, the ship is in 3 distinct pieces, I'm pretty sure. Here's a question. Can I tether the big ship back just like a little bit? Does the tether exert enough force to actually move that? Doesn't look like it. See, because what I really want to do is just get this cage bit back. We could try to just cut it, I guess, you know? What of the many things my tethers are whining? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna cut the cage. Actually, these bars cook? Yeah. Alright, fuck it. I'm gonna kill my tethers. Did that work? Yeah. Alright, we're gonna melt 6,000 credits worth of aluminum or whatever here. Just cut loose the bars. And then in theory, we should be able to like carefully wiggle all of this stuff out. I forgot that in training missions they don't shift time you. That's nice. Okay. So, At this point, this bit of aluminum framing is totally loose, so we can just press it up here. This bit of framing is totally loose, but I guess it's kind of caught around the... Well, no, we can... Okay, if I'm really... Can you please not make alert sounds at me right now? Oh, the pipes are loose too. Right. That does make things a little bit easier. Okay, so we just pushed the pipes aside, and now it's no problem to just pull this thing out here, and it is almost certainly not even worth furnacing.
Deposit accepted.
It's worth a little bit more than I thought. But now, yeah, now this thing's moving. These pipes want to go in the processor. Oh, this is a separate piece from the fuel tank itself. Okay. If that's the case, the fuel tank, I think, will fit through the gap here. That said, it is quite heavy, and I'm certain if I use the reel, I will be sorry that I did so. So we're just gonna float backwards here. Ah, shit, the plug. Yeah, the clamp is a little bit too big. Well, you know what? Actually, this is fine, though. Yeah, because we can use the fuel tank to tug the entire cage loose of the rest of the ship. And then bring the fuel tank out this way. And once it's out here, easy enough. Ooh.
Salvage deposit confirmed.
Clamp's worth 80k. Tank itself, really not that much for the amount of like work and care you have to put into it. This fuel pipe, interestingly, doesn't actually... The top, like the collar part of it says processor, but the rest of it, the largest chunk of it, doesn't actually tell you to salvage it to anywhere.
Object.
Weird.
Applying credits to account.
Sorry. My brain is broken, and for a second there I was like, oh look, it's that Windows screensaver. No, not the furnace god, the other one. You can tell that the processor god is a cruel mistress, because no one even dares speak her name. Okay, these are a pain in the ass to move. I'm tethering these.
Project processed. Credits awarded.
Tethers are for things that are heavy / annoying. Okay. So that gives us the ability to do something here. Ah, shit. No, I was gonna set up a way to have all the chambers open to here, have that room pressurized, and then cut open that one. But that's where the ECU is. I don't know if that's actually a very good idea.
Transferring credits.
Okay, the front part of this thing is all ready to go. But we should get this part fixed or figured out next. So how am I going to manage that? We've significantly reduced the risks that are posed by a... oh, right. Airlock doors in here are unpowered. Don't know why. They shouldn't be. Are things disconnected? Oh, well, I guess there's no fuel. Huh. Wasn't expecting that to have so much of an effect. So, like, we are just gonna have to rip this thing. All right. Don't love it. How are we gonna do that? I wasn't really expecting taking the fuel out to have the effect of depowering everything, because I thought the reactor was probably running on its own and the fuel was just used for the thrusters. But I guess no. All right. This is going to do something. It's going to try to feed me to the furnace god, is what it's going to do. Oh. The thruster cap didn't even break. Although if that bar there is its health, it looks like it almost did.
Processing object. Applying credits to account.
Okay, that could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. So let's figure out how we want to actually do this then. Unfortunately, the fact that I depowered everything means that we're not going to be able to get the thruster loose from its plate, right? Which is like, it's not the end of the world, but it does mean that it's going to be really hard to salvage. Probably also means that, like, as far as reactor meltdown stuff goes, we're in kind of a weird spot. So, yeah, the thruster release is going to be non-functional. Let's grab ourselves an air filter for later. Yep, unpowered. So we're getting the fast meltdown, which is to say, I need to make sure that we got a real direct path to the barge. One thing that I'm not clear on is whether it's one process or two, you know? Like, is it the case that the meltdown is slower if you release the coolant and also the thrusters? Or is it the meltdown is slower if you release the thrusters and it's also slower if you release the coolant, and if you do both, it's just more so? I'd really like it to be the latter, obviously, because then we could still get partial here. A little bit of control on the meltdown is all I ask, really. Now that's the only plate that actually floated away on its own, so the rest of these are connected to these ribs a little bit better.
Processor deposit accepted.
But
Credits awarded.
still breakably. I want to get the whole belly of this ship off before I go messing with anything else. So, Cutter suddenly spitting sparks directly in the direction of the reactor made me a clenching. There was a lot of clenching. I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to pull the ECU coolant either, right? That's probably going to be power related. Ugh, I was supposed to do all of this with the fuel tank running and the fuel in the pipes. That shit's terrifying. It's not that it doesn't make sense. It's just terrifying. Okay, these should be loose now. Okay. Let's just give this little tug downward here to twist it. Okay, yeah, I see. So there are pipes connecting things. Okay.
Caution. No tethers remaining.
Valuable object accepted.
All right, that's the thing we should probably fix. They don't make me keep track of my fuel or my O2 on the training missions either, which, again, is much appreciated. Kind of weird that it doesn't work that way for tethers, given that, but whatever.
Welcome to Vindatron 9000. Thank you for your
Tethers restored.
All that stuff's getting in there. Those aren't antennas or anything, right? No, it's just the sky bridge.
Accepted for processing.
Or sorry, that's the aero bridge. This whole whatever. Worry about this later. This is a later problem. Okay, so yeah, there is no weld point here. I see. Yeah, the fuel runs through the processor, and that's how it gets to the thrusters. The fuel system has to work as one piece. It doesn't. It couldn't not. Well, that's a shame. Okay. I guess I managed to like shell this thing in a really weird way. No, this is way too massive for me to exert any force on it. Okay, let's have a quick look at the ECU, see if there's anything I can do to it. How does one do the coolant? So this is a computer terminal. Maybe there was supposed to be interacted with it. It doesn't look like there's any mechanical switches or anything, so. Yup, that was going to be power related for sure. Okay. Looks like we got no choice. So, I'm wondering if I can twist this. Like, we get this whole thing to keep rotating. Because it's rotated a fair amount, and if I could put the processor facing directly into the barge, I do think that would be a good idea. Fuck it. That's... okay.
Object accepted.
That's not the processor.
Credits deposited.
That's a containment unit. Well, we probably ought to remove the whole damn thing. These plates are not worth anything. All that stuff goes into the processor anyway, so really, it's best we leave the plates. All right, who's ready to watch a reactor explode?
That reactor is coming out hot, Cutter.
Sure
Get it
is.
on the barge. Stat.
Okay, there we go. So, when they say faster, what they mean is instantly. In theory, we were outside of the immediate region of the explosion. I can see why that particular spare might not have been useful in the future, however. Okay, so you don't... First of all, in terms of the objective list, you actually do... It says optional, but that shit ain't optional.
Next time, don't forget about the ECU and the thrusters. And always remember to clear a path.
Yeah, I did a pretty good job of one of those things. All right, gotta leave the fuel intact because the fuel runs through the whole system. So if we hit the fuel, if we hit the fuel flush valve, we've already blown it. I'm gonna take these antennas off again. But then I think we're just gonna do it because it seems like I can't do anything else.
Salvage registered. Transferring credits.
Weird, we had to be way closer to that one than we did to the last one. Okay, is it the exact same deal with the...
Deposited. Applying credit to account.
It looks like, yeah, the ship is set a single way. And in fact, it is the exact same deal with the compression. So, let me just make sure I'm not missing anything here. Nope. Nope. No atmosphere regulator of any kind. Okay, but here's something to try. What if I pressurize myself inside here, and then I break the door? So that the door to the inner area can't close, and then I use the atmosphere regulator. Does it work well enough to just suck all of the air out? Like if I... how would I do this? This stuff is just aluminum. So I can just remove one of these door panels so that there's no... I'm not sure if tearing off the control panel will make it so that the door... will make it so that the door can't close, or will just make it so that I cannot manually open the door after it has closed. So I'm going to slice this panel. I guess the smart way to do this is like, we could take the whole panel off at once, really, right? Okay. There we go. So now we got an opening that will still be there when we try to deregulate the atmosphere regulator. Unavailable. No, it will only work in a space of this size. Okay. So then the answer is it won't function at all if you disconnect anything. The only way to do this is to depressurize this thing from the outside. And we know of a safe-ish way to do that. Safe enough, anyway. So I'm going to try to quickly switch to the grapple and grab the thruster cap after we do the second cut here. We'll see how that works. Okay. All right. Managed to avoid the collision, and I didn't even get myself thrown in the furnace. And it seems like I didn't break the reactor.
Credits transferred.
So. All right, let's get back in here through the airlock. And then we're going to see about managing this. But I think that that's left us in a good state. Unless it's disconnected any of the internal pipes, in which case we're very fucked. You know? ECU still reading is live. Okay, that's a good sign. Did do some, yeah. Okay, cool. So, some loose paneling in here. It's to be expected. All right. So there's a thruster ejection switch on this side. Is there a coolant brake switch on this side? Or how am I actually supposed to disconnect the coolant? I kind of thought that ECU computer was actually going to be interactable, but it doesn't look like it is. I certainly don't want to just yank the front off of this thing. It said you got to remove the coolant tanks connected to the ECU. And I mean, that's a coolant pipe for sure. Oh wait, what am I doing? This is the wrong... That's the wrong airlock. Or the wrong door. So are there tanks out here? There aren't, right? That's the coolant running. So the coolant tanks are in the ECU? That's what I figured. But then, like, how do I open it to make that available? All right. I think I can disconnect the thrusters without blowing it. I mean, let's test it, right? Fuck it. Okay, it does not begin to melt down immediately. Which means that, in fact, you could march the thruster out the gap here and give us a little bit of an easier time accessing the outside. Yeah, that looks safe. It's probably not going to damage that thing at all.
Salvage deposit registered. Account credited.
Okay. So obviously we do need to cut away the floor. That's pretty important. I'm a little worried that I'm going to cause the ECU to disconnect. But I guess we'll see. I feel a lot safer cutting in here now. Now that we know that I can do it without detonating anything important. Alright, so we should be able to remove the walls. At this point, I think that's everything. May as well get this airlock out of here as well. There was still air inside of that airlock, it turns out. Pretty small amount, though. Just a little bit of downward force on each of these. Okay.
Valuable object. Credits awarded.
So we've got a way out. Need to pull a couple of these panels out of the way. And if I get this, I plan to scrap the rest of the ship off camera. Or actually, do you get the rewards of the training vessels? Is it worth continuing to scrap the ship after we're done with the thing?
Credits deposited.
I don't know. Probably. I'll worry about it later. I feel like I want to pull a couple more of the plates away. Okay. So we got a pretty good opening here. So now, in theory, when we do whatever it is that we're supposed to do, gets us here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff too. I haven't actually salvaged the stuff inside of here, so I'm just trying to get it like out of the way. This furnace bit is really connected to the other stuff. I don't actually see welds? I don't know. Whatever. If it's just sitting over there, it should be fine. Just trying to get stuff out of the way so that I can access the ECU and then quickly
Salvage
get
secured.
back out here.
Applying credit.
Because we can just pull the computer terminal off of it.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
It feels like the wrong move, though, right? I guess it's gotta be, because there's no other place for tanks to be. So, do you really just rip the thing out? That feels wrong. All right, I'm gonna try something here. I guess if I do this, we're disconnecting the thing from the fuel. I was just gonna chop this entire piece loose from the middle. Actually, though, it's not clear to me how the fuel is the fuel's not connected to the rear side of the ship anyway. Never mind. The fuel is only connected to the nacelles and not to the thruster at all. The fuel line that runs to the then what was it that killed the power last time? Because all of this stuff should have been fuck if I know. All right. Release ECU coolant. Still, I was really hoping there would just be like a thing to pull, so it would be like extremely clear what I was doing. There's not a switch on that plate. And this is why they give you the infinite resources, right? So that you do have the time to try to piece these things out in a training environment. There's definitely a panel on that. Ah, whatever.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Yep, 125,000 credits. All right.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Okay. Having yanked that panel, it accomplished nothing. Doesn't seem to be any way to interact with the ECU at all. As far as I can tell, that's just a door panel, right? I've been assuming it was a door panel. Yeah, it's the airlock console. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Release ECU coolant. Just fucking cut the pipe. Yeah, I mean, it's cut level 1.
Nice job, Cutter. Bought yourself some extra time
Okay.
with the reactor there. Don't
Come
forget,
on.
getting both the thrusters and the ECU will get you even more time during the meltdown. Now, send it to the... Well, I'll be. Well done, Cutter. You continue to impress. Now we just gotta work on improving the time. All right. We're done with training. We'll leave you be now. Great work today, Cutter. Weaver out.
Okay, and then it turns into a normal shift.
Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
So that was definitely not it. There was a 0 of 3 on the release coolant thing, but like, I don't know. It feels like this was supposed to be interactable, doesn't it? Oh, I see. There's a tiny furnace panel. Okay, well, fuck. Yeah, that's doable. Pickup. Can I just like... Hold on a second.
Deposit accepted for processing.
Can also be used to extinguish fire. Okay, I just take these for myself. So, all right, you open the panel on the front of the... You don't interact with it via computer or anything. You open the other panel that doesn't look like anything at all, just a panel. And then you... All right, fine, I guess. It's all good. Actually, hold on. Let me deal with this. So it sure seems like the only way to disconnect these pieces is to cut the aero bridge. Don't see any welds. Was I... Hold on. Maybe I'm missing something inside the cockpit. Maybe inside the cockpit there was a release of some kind? All right, well. It does in fact appear that I'm just going to have to chop it. So we can disconnect these parts. Yeah, that's kind of going where I wanted. Right, so that'll pull the outer bit, but there's still going to be this wall and the wall on the opposite side. Which is just going to be, you know, some real clumsy work, I guess.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Apparently there was a wall terminal on that wall. I guess that makes sense. That's where that would be. Oh, cool. It started pulling the whole thing.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred. Salvage deposit confirmed. Applying credit.
Okay, yeah. So from here, it's just normal shift. Throw this thing in the thing, and then I guess we just carve this into 3 pieces. Do our best to
Processing
cut it at the right point.
Credits to account.
Did that go all the way through? It did. Okay. Here's the big question. Was it actually even worth doing? You know what? I feel better if we are the opposite arrangement here. Because, like...
Object not accepted. Please revisit your training.
Yeah, there's a tiny bit of aero bridge on there. Apparently, I did not get the atmosphere regulator, the broken atmosphere regulator. Oh, this one didn't cut all the way through.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Oh, not that. This. Okay, so the panels were worth 33K each. The air bridge is
Material accepted. Credits assigned.
427. Okay.
Goal obtained.
It's
Additional rewards.
probably not actually worth doing that slice. Probably we could just throw the whole damn thing in the furnace, honestly. Yeah, that's definitely what I wanted you to do. This damn thing. Every time I'm about to release the tether, it undraws the line. Get in there. Ugh. All right. This is where I'm going to call it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to finish slicing this ship as we saw in the previous attempt. And then I'll just I'll pick y'all back up at the end of that. So see you then.